Welcome to yet another educative and informative episode at Business Reality with Adeni Ishuremi. My goal is to help you achieve success in agribusiness and to ensure that you get stability and value for every second you spend listening to any of my episodes. Do not forget to follow me on Spotify and YouTube to get more episodes or follow my website adenishuremi.com.ng to get access to my newsletters. I'm hoping that at the end of this episode, you're going to be getting value for every second you spend here. I'm grateful for your support and I expect more support. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoying the episode. Yes, today we're discussing the Agrifinance part of the 7 secrets you just need to know before going into agribusiness as your career path, right? We'll be talking about Agrifinance. Of course, before now, we've discussed about farming secrets, because about input provision as a secret that you have to know. We've talked about agri-tech, we've talked about processing and value addition. In case you're still wondering, we're still discussing how you should not venture or things that you must not venture into agribusiness without knowing, right? And of course, I'm talking about 7 things in total. And of course, this is the fifth in a list of 7, right? So we're looking at agrifinance. This is a very, very important topic, right? Because coincidentally, currently I'm even trying to help some agricultural business get funding with Vested World, and I'm trying to help align them to the purpose and what Vested World is supposed to offer, right? So finance is something every agribusiness is very passionate about. Everybody feel they need finance. Everybody, literally everybody in business, mostly in agricultural business, feels that they need finance to succeed. But then, just beyond finance, what are the other things that are required? By the time you take adequate time to inspect a lot of people, right? When I mean a lot of people, I mean a lot of people, and look at their current goals, their current plans, you realize that a lot of them, finance is not the primary thing they should even be looking for at the moment. They should be looking out for other things, particularly, say, business planning, business development support, and other things. But people just want finance. But irrespective, the purpose of this session is not to anchor heavily on all those materials that or every other thing that is needed to ensure that the company succeeds aside finance. The goal of this session is just to ensure that okay, all secret is in the agri-finance space that you must know before you venture into agribusiness. So let's start by breaking the word agri-finance down into something that could easily be assimilated in. Agri-finance is a combination of two words, agriculture and finance. Of course, agriculture is raising of birds, rearing of livestock, and production of crop, and every other thing in between those parts. But finance, on the other hand, right? The meaning of finance in English is the management of large amount of money, especially by either the government or companies, as the case may be, right? And usually many companies have it as a department because it's very important for them to manage their finances and how it works. So that's where agrifinance comes in. Now, how do you get enough capital to keep your business running or enough funding to keep your business running? And how do you manage that money, right? And how do you allocate it? Because it's a scarce resource, right? How do you allocate it to different things the company does to achieve the goals that you've always set out for yourself to achieve? All of this is how agrifinance in itself work. And I won't lie, I will always tell you that cash is the lifeblood of any business out there. And that's just a simple truth. Without cash, for farmers, you can't produce. You can't go into production. Else you wear yourself out. You'll be the one to do your ridging, you'll be the one to do your planting, you'll be the one to do your harvesting, your spraying, and then you also be the one to do logistics, carry it yourself. But even in between this, you can't eventually totally eradicate the need for finance because the input you're going to be buying, the seed, the fertilizers, the chemicals, everything you're buying, you need money to buy them, right? Even though you're going to be your own labor, you're still going to buy a lot of things. So then there's the part for money, right? Now, even outside that as well, you want to go into see the input provision, right? You need money to stock and then, of course, so you can get clients to come and buy and all of that, right? Even the renting of your initial space for business, all these things you need money for it. Of course, then we have the farming side of things as well. The processing side of things. You need to buy raw materials, add value, then sell. Money is important there. And how this money flow, particularly for people into the agri-tech input and processing, the money usage in this space is more complex than it is in the farming space. So much more you need the agri-finance system in place, how to manage the inflow and outflow of the business, right? These are things that are there. Even in the other um, parts remaining before this whole program is over, which when I talk about the say the export and processing, and then of course the last part that has to do with marketing and sales. Those things, finance are still very core important in how those things are executed and how they succeed, right? So now that you understand what agri-finance is and how important it is to various arms of the agribusiness system, now the next thing you want to look at is how do people currently succeeding get agri-finance in shape. First and foremost, how do they get the finance they need to run their business, one, to keep it operational, to start the business, to keep it operational, and then to expand the business, right? How do they get finance? So that's which cost a lot of capital. How do they get finance to keep it running, right? And sustain it and expand, right? So we're looking at agri-finance in terms of three things first. Startup capital, that's how they get it to start the business. Now, how they keep the business running, how they sustain the business with finance. And lastly, how do they expand with finance? So these are the three things we're going to look at agri-finance from that perspective. So the first one is how do agricultural business or startup generally get capital? So of course, there are many ways you can get capital. You can get it through bootstrapping, through family and friends, through investors, through loans, which is also a debt, right? Through venture capitalists, venture firms, angel investors, right? There are many ways you can get finance, right? But for your own business, right, what is logical, right? The simple rule in every playbook is if you can get it, if you have the money saved, please rely when you're starting, rely heavily on your own personal savings. It's always safe. It's always better. It brings more peace of mind. But then if you don't have the finance, right, then that's when you pull into other forms of bootstrapping, which is family and friends. Before you can pull off that side of things, how much capital trust, how much trust factor do you have with these people? Your family, how much they trust you with money and with business? Same things with your friends. How much they trust you with money and business, right? If you have good rating with them, then of course you can secure funding from this set of individuals. Now, if you've done that, right, then you can now look at other finance. If you've not and you need funding to start a business, I would suggest that you start from that place. It's always the safest, right? When I mean safest, I mean, business in the early stage is very volatile. Even in more advanced economy, it's volatile. Not just even Nigeria. Some people say, it's because it's Nigeria. No, it's not just Nigeria. Young business in everywhere is volatile. And you want to make sure that you don't gather funds that may give you problem in the long run. So having known that as a case study, right, you want to avoid other structure of funding, particularly in the beginning. But now if all these options are now lost to you, there's nothing you could do about it. Then you want to do crowdfunding, you want to do angel investment, because those are people that are looking into you, particularly when you don't have a lot of things going on just yet. Right? With crowdfunding, you have to put up a good story that people can follow, relate with, and trust in. With angel investor, you have to be able to explain how what you're doing will be the next big thing, and that will change in life and make impact. Those are the two things: angel investment and crowdfunding. Now, if you now, of course, are now beyond there, then you can look at other funding. Like you've started something, it's making a bit of headway and traction, then you can now take it to the next level. Now, with that said, that's all on that angle. Now, the next part you want to now look at in terms of agri-finance is how do you operate and sustain your business? Now, you started up and you're manageably doing well, and things are not so bad for you. Now, if that's now your case, right, then you need funds to sustain. That's when you now think about going for debts, that's going for loan, going for venture capitalists, we are raising fund, and that's if it works for you. Largely, the tech-oriented businesses thrive on those spaces more. Well, you put investors into your business, they take up equity, and then of course you get money back. You share a part of the company so you can get funding, right? Then there's the part where, of course, you can also reach out to family and friends that have more money to help you expand or sustain your business. Now, most of the sustenance money goes to salaries, goes to things like keeping your oiling your startup or your business, ensuring that finances are here and there. Sometimes you may have the money coming in a couple of weeks, but then you need cash right now to sort some challenges. Then, of course, these are reasons why you go for funding or you get funded during your sustenance stage. Now, expansion, you're certain of what you're doing is bringing in good results. Your revenue and your inflow and outflow is very, very good. Then you can now go for venture capitalists, big loans, and then get all of that to expand your business to a very good height. And that's finance. Now, in all of these things, you want to have a good record system where you manage all of these things as much as possible. Now that I've now given you the mindset of how finance work from the beginning to starting, sustaining, and expanding, and how you can get them. Now, the question there is, what are the secrets that you must know before this path becomes something you want to trail? Now, before I talk about that secrets, just momentarily, agri-finance is something that you can go into even as a business in itself, right? So you could create a startup and focus heavily on agri-finance. And when I mean you focus, there is simple. You go into the place only to ensure that people get funded. Like you want to help them get funded. So of course you prioritize yourself in sorting and selecting the right agricultural companies that need money and how those money are used to get results. It's very, very important, right? Very, 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 very important. How does agribusiness get funded, right? So there are some people that have tried to prioritize that. I do that for other companies, particularly when you want to invest in a startup, but you don't even know which startup to invest in, right? You're not sure where to put that money, right? Yes, you want to make sure that that is clear. You want to be very, very clear about it. But where to drop the money and to what aim, what are you expecting, how to manage it? Yes, you want to be sure of all those things as much as possible. So it could also be a business in itself for whoever is ready to take on that business, right? So what do you need as a secret to know as a secret? If you're either playing the agri-finance space or you're participating in the agri-finance space. Now, when I say playing as a business, that's what I meant. Like you're doing it, that's your business. You're into agri-finance as a sub-sector. Now, if also you're now looking for funding or you've gotten funding, what secrets must you know to succeed in agriculture, right? First and foremost, every little capital, whether investment, a debt, which is a loan, or a bootstrap fund, it is a trust. You have to understand it's a trust. And you have to determine that you will do your best to ensure that that trust is owed with high esteem. I mean, like really high esteem. Because any money you collect, you will still account for it one way or the other. Whether or not they're expecting the returns, everybody expects returns. So family and friends expect returns in terms of your progress and growth. And they would like to know whenever you can tell them about your growth and progress. That's family and friends. Now, when it comes to investors, they want to see how what you collected had made you grow bigger, particularly when they are equity investors. How big are you now because of what we're giving to you, right? Have you been able to do more with it that makes you more appealing? It's very important to them because every investor, particularly equity investor, look towards having you, how I call it, having you either exit or go IPO, and you only do that if you get big enough. So these are things they're looking at. Now, if it's a loan, they want you to grow big and expand your money so you can pay back, right? So there's expectation, right? Every money you collect is a trust. You cannot help but make it worth it, right? So you have to be able to put that trust forward and make it succeed at it. That's the first secret. Second secret is accountability factor. Not just accountability. The first point when you look like accountability, but that's not what I meant. That's the trust. You have to prove it back to whoever it is gave you the trust. Now, the second part is accountability factor. That accountability factor has to be in your day-to-day processes. If you know you're not an accountable person, do not collect money. Don't even collect money, or don't even go into business of helping to invest their money in the right places. Accountability is something that comes heavily required in the space of agri-finance. It is a requisite. And accountability must come into record keeping, heavy and strict record keeping. Your record keeping has to be very, very tight to succeed in accountability aspects, right? Your record has just to be good. It has to be exceptionally good because that's numbers helps accountability as a case study. When you give the right numbers, accountability factors are always well done, right? So you want to know that accountability is very important. Without that, you won't thrive. Whether you're looking for the money for personal business growth, or you're helping people to plant the money in various organizations, now accountability is key as much as possible. Then, of course, the third secret that you must know is that it gets very bloody very fast, right? The whole space for agrifinance, right, is a very sensitive space where people usually get very, very angry very fast. If you know you don't know how to manage people, stay away, right? It gets very bloody very fast. And if you know you don't have capacity to manage people, stay away because management of people comes into high demand when you're playing the agrifinance space, right? Now, the fourth part there is emotional connection. You need to be able to draft emotional connection with everyone involved in the finance space, right? As much as possible. You may think it's quite funny, but it is true. People that don't understand how emotions work usually have challenges in the agrifinance space. Now, the fact that you have to understand emotion does not mean that you want to accept nonsense. It's one, allows you counter people that want to use pity game on you. Two, it also allows you to know to what degree people are being mischievous, right? The right emotion help you sift through the good and the bad set of individuals in agrifinance, right? You need your emotional game on, and it has to be very, very tight, right? Now, that is the third secret. Now, the fourth secret is the strategic approach that would ensure that you don't have issues. You have to create a strategic approach that ensures you don't have issues, right? And people do that by creating processes that they can trust, right? So you hear something that before I can fund you, you have to go through 9 checklists. That's their own processes, strategic processes that ensures that they don't make mistake. Now you have to create your own. Whether you're collecting the money for yourself or you want to help people collect and invest, or you want to go into the business of investing into agricultural businesses, then you have to have your own strategic processes that saves you from stories that touch, right? Some people you can't rush them. There are some people that their funding process or the money receiving process will take 9 weeks, 10 weeks, 2 months, 5 months. That is their process, and they jumping it is going to predispose people to challenges and failure. So you have to have strategic processes, and that's the fourth secret. Now, the fifth secret is agribusiness is very volatile, right? And you have to know that before you even go involved. Whether you're helping the company start up, you're helping the company maintain operation or sustain themselves, or you're helping the company expand, or you want to just be more like a hedge fund, helping to plant money here and there in different places. Understand that agriculture is volatile. It is a very, very guaranteed sector where if you get it right, you'll succeed, but it is volatile. Particularly when you not even consider those that are starting out, right? It's volatile. You have to understand that and always calculate your risk level before you go into it. Particularly in the finance space. Everybody needs money, but not everybody knows how to manage money, right? Everybody needs money, not everybody knows how to manage money. And that has to be something that you're very, very clear about as much as possible. So once you have that sorted, beautiful, then you're in good hand, right? And lastly, right, requisites skill. Like for example, what's that person been doing before now? You don't give big money to someone that is not used to big money. You only cause trouble for yourself, right? You want to look at the person's prehistoric level before you hand money to anybody whatsoever. Try to understand them very well. The fact that they failed before is not the reason why I should not give them money, but it's the plan they have to succeed this time. And look out for loopholes, particularly if you don't know at all. If they are now good, right, you can call a third high, a fourth high to help you evaluate one or two people to be certain that you're making the right choice so you don't go out of plan. That's very, very important. You have to make sure that you're looking out for your own processes. Now, if, for example, you're confused about anything whatsoever, call a third high, call a fourth high. And I'm certain that if whatever you miss, the next person may not miss it. And that's why agrifinance is very, very important to many people because they need it and you don't want to waste your money. Or you want to offer, you don't want them to destroy in the process. Call a third high, a fourth high, a second high. So help you see things from a different perspective and hopefully you won't make any single mistake. These are things you need to know for venturing into the agri-finance space in the agricultural sector. Now, these are the key secrets I want to share. I think that's about 5 or 6 thereabouts. I think I lost count a little bit over there. But then, Make sure that all these things are things you checkmate before you venture into agrifinance. Whether you're the one looking for money or you're the one giving the money, always look at these things very well. If you've received, make sure that you check yourself again for these things. If you're the one giving, make sure that you check yourself again to see that your giving aligns with these principles based on this knowledge. And I'm certain that you'll succeed doing what you love doing the most within the sector. With that said, that is all I've got for today. I do hope that blesses you, increases you somehow in your business particularly, and help you achieve your overall goal. With that, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. We hope, particularly high, that you've been able to get something concrete from this episode. Do not just listen to my episode, but take value with it. And once you take value, you're certain to succeed. The difference in you and the person that doesn't take steps is that you take step and you're guaranteed of a result, and that result becomes a success. And I will be here to listen to all you have to say as regarding the steps you've taken and the results you've gotten. Follow me across social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and every other part, or better still, search my name on Google and you'll get so many access to my content. And also ensure that you follow my podcast for more informative sessions. Thanks so much for your time. I can't wait to have you again. Have a wonderful day.